Hey guys, Brian here from Movieverse, and today I am joined by my friend Jason. Me and him have been talking about getting him on the channel, so this will be the first video that he is joining us. So Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you wanted to, kind of participate in these videos.
Yeah, man. Thank you for letting me be on here. I know from the moment you told me about this channel, I wanted to be on here, but we just haven't been able to work that out yet. But I talk about movies literally all day, every day. I could talk about something about a movie, so I'm really excited to be here.
All right, cool. So today we're going to be doing kind of like a weekly news roundup, revolving around any kind of movies that we see coming out soon. Today it's going to be a lot of superhero movies, but we also have some news about Fast and Furious and Tron 3. So stick around for that stuff. Also Marvel and DC movie news. So we'll get to that stuff here in a second. We'll start off with a Suicide Squad cast picture has been released. And it has Will Smith, Margot Robbie, a bunch of people that I do not know. Like there's a guy from Lost. I don't know how to pronounce his name. What did you say his name from Lost was?
Mr. Echo.
Mr. Echo,
Mr.
yeah.
Echo.
Apparently he's playing Killer Croc. We know, Will Smith is playing Deadshot. Margot Robbie is playing Harley Quinn. Jay Hernandez, I don't know who that is, but he's playing El Diablo, which is this guy who has tattoos on his body and he can like manipulate fire. Jai Courtney is Captain Boomerang. Viola Davis all in this picture, and Cara Delevingne. And then like three people that are apparently part of the cast, but we don't know who they're casted as yet. Some of the rumors are that one of them is playing Deathstroke.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about this cast photo?
Looks good. An obvious kind of person that's not part of this picture is Jared Leto, which we know that he is actually touring with his band, which is why he couldn't be in this photo. But most of the cast is here. We don't know exactly who everybody is playing.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's great to see this moving along.
Definitely. And I mentioned to you before we started filming, is like, we see those scripts like on the table.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, like it's real, it's happening, and it's like Suicide Squad is one of those, groups that not a lot of people know about. Like I have a couple comic books of theirs, and also I have like an animated movie from Assault on Arkham.
Really good.
So yeah, it's definitely like an interesting like group of characters to have in the DC universe, this kind of sets them apart from Marvel. So like people say like, oh, this is like their Guardians of the Galaxy. Not really true, because Guardians of the Galaxy, they're kind of like they're morally flexible, but they're still like heroes at the end of the day. Like these guys are just straight up villains, like no doubt about it. And it's awesome to think about this because like even though they have like bombs planted in their like heads, and they're following directions from Amanda Waller, they're still trying to figure out throughout the whole thing how to like get out of there. They hate each other, like they don't want to be there, like type of thing. So it's a really interesting dynamic to have for a movie. So that makes me super excited. But what you mentioned about Jared Leto not being in this picture because he's touring with his band, but he does have a photo that he posted, which is the classic killer joke picture with like the Joker with a camera. Was super interesting. So what do you think about Jared Leto's Joker picture?
Really good picture. We do see he also has the green hair as well too.
Product placement.
Yeah, just a little Nikon camera there. But I can't like this
like
enough.
He shaved
really.
his eyebrows, right?
Yeah,
Didn't he? Like,
it looks like he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, he looks pale. So that works. That works in his favor too. So like, I mentioned to you about the Joker that we saw in Assault on Arkham from the Suicide Squad. Like that Joker, like that physical look of him is what I'm hoping to get from Jared Leto, mixed with the like character that we see in The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, where he's just completely deranged. Like he has like no remorse about like just gunning down people, and like it's just crazy. So like what I want to see him in that movie is, I know you mentioned earlier about like him not having a huge role
Right.
in the Suicide Squad movie, like maybe a couple scenes where he's like in his cell or whatever. And then there's been rumors that there's like a prison break at the end of the movie where like the Joker gets out from there, and I just want to see him like murder somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and just like walk off, like, and, you know, and then you don't see him again until like maybe like the Batman movie or something like that. So that'd be super interesting. So yeah, that's those are the two pictures that we have from Suicide Squad. So I guess now we're gonna move on to some news about Age of Ultron. So you know, Age of Ultron comes out March 1st, or you know they have advanced screenings on April 30th. And there's already projections that Age of Ultron will hit over $200 million in the first weekend.
That's insane.
So they're thinking that it's going to beat out the first Avengers, which I think was like $207 million.
$207.
So I predict it's going to get up all the way up to $220 million in the first weekend.
Oh, absolutely. I could see a 220, definitely a 210, something like that. This is getting buzz galore right now, so this is gonna knock all the records out of the.
Now, something I wanted to mention while we're on the topic of Age of Ultron is, I think Christian Harloff on the AMC Movie Talk mentioned earlier that, or was it him or was it somebody else who mentioned about how they're kind of like nervous that they're showing so much, like they're pushing like so many trailers on us,
right.
like, and they're worried about. That means that they want people to go out and see it before like bad reviews come in. Do you agree with that, or do you think that they're just like looking into that too much?
I wouldn't necessarily agree with it wholeheartedly. I would say that they're trying to get more of the people who, you know, aren't necessarily that big of comic book fans. They're trying to get into it. So that's why we see a lot of TV spots with new footage and little minute clips and stuff like that. But for us, we want more and more and more until we see the movie. But I think it's really for the fans who aren't into comic books. And they just want to go out and see a good movie.
To add to that, I think because so many people saw the first Avengers, I think they keep pushing out more trailers to get the people who didn't see the first Avengers to come, or at least didn't see the first Avengers in theaters, to come to theaters and see it. So they're trying to give more to, you know, bring in those people.
Right.
So I think that might be another way to look at it. I guess that's more optimistic than what, you know, they were thinking. But also, first reactions have been coming in for Age of Ultron. Like, the AMC Movie Talk crew got to go see the movie last night.
Yeah.
Super jealous of that.
Yeah.
But they said, like John Campea said on AMC Movie Talk that he had like such high expectations that he didn't think that, you know, that he thought that he was going to be let down or something like that. But then his reaction was that he loved it. Yeah. So I'm wondering like if it met his expectations or maybe even exceeded it. I'm kind of curious as to like, but we don't know.
Yeah, we just have no idea.
They can't talk about it until like April
embargo.
21st or something. Yeah. So that's super interesting. Also about Age of Ultron, it was confirmed by Joss Whedon and Kevin Feige that Carol Danvers will not be in the movie, which I was betting on her being
I really thought she was going to be in the movie as well too.
I thought that was going to be one of like the secrets of the movies that we that we don't know. But they did say that there will be another female. The rumor is that there will be another female in the movie, like superhero wise or hero wise. One of the rumors is maybe it's a character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that's all speculation and rumor at this point. Also, there's no post-credit scene, so there will be a mid-credit scene, but no post-credit scene. So what do you think about that?
Kind of weird for a Marvel movie.
Little disappointing.
Weird. Little disappointing, yes. I still think I'm still gonna wait for the credits just in case there wasn't something shot. But I think they could tell their whole story in the movie. They don't really need a credit scene because they might set up Ant-Man at the end of the movie itself.
Well, I actually think they're going to set up Civil War at the end of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because like you see in the trailer, kind of like Steve Rogers and Tony Stark kind of being at ends with each other. So I think at the end of Age of Ultron, they could really set up Civil War, so then they could use that mid-credit scene to use for Ant-Man, or maybe even Doctor Strange. Maybe they might leave Doctor Strange till Ant-Man. I don't know.
And didn't you also say that Ant-Man is supposed to be taken at the same time as Avengers 2? Yeah,
I heard a rumor that Ant-Man was actually it tied directly into Age of Ultron. So I'm not sure if it was happening at the same time or directly after.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that'll definitely be interesting once we get another look at Ant-Man, because we only have one trailer so far.
Right.
So
yeah, they're not really pushing the marketing too hard
until
Age of Ultron.
Do you think they're going to put a second trailer for Ant-Man at Avengers?
Oh, I definitely do.
Like,
I really do. Right? I really do because
it's 2 months out.
Yeah, they have. I think there's going to be.
But nobody's talking. Nobody's talking about a second trailer for Ant-Man, like attached to Avengers.
Right.
Because nothing's been announced. But I would think that Marvel would have to, right?
Yeah, because it's going to be a really bad miss if they don't promote it that much because it's flying so much under the radar right now.
Yeah.
That they have to do something to get it in our heads that this movie's coming out.
And speaking of trailers with Age of Ultron, Star Wars.
Yes.
Episode 7 trailer confirmed to be attached to Age of Ultron.
Disney's day.
How much money can they make? Yeah. How much money can they make?
They're printing money at this point.
Like you get all the comic book fans, right? You get the casual moviegoers, and on top of all of that, $207 million that they made from the first Avengers, they're going to add all the Star Wars fans to that because they're going to show it online before then. I would assume because of Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. But that'll be the first time you get to see it on the big screen. So I think there's going to be tons of Star Wars fans that they just want to see that trailer on the big screen.
Right.
So they're just Disney's just taking the bank, putting it in a bag and throwing it over their shoulder.
Yeah.
While Disney's walking over out the sunset, So what do you expect from the new Star Wars trailer? What do you want to see from the Star Wars trailer?
Oh man, really, me personally, I would like to see somebody from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it too much of the story away for me. I want to be in the theater and I want to see something new. I don't
Do you want to see that new Sith character? Do you want to see his face? Because we only saw him in a cloak and then his lightsaber. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't think they can't hold on to these secrets that much longer. Stuff's going to get out.
Marvel's had issues with that,
right,
with their damn it Hydra, tweet with the trailer for Age of Ultron.
And there's not too much. You don't want to give too much away because you have Disney, you have Star Wars Celebration, so we don't know how much stuff Disney is going to give out at Star Wars Celebration compared to the trailer.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's rumors that there's going to be additional content from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Along with the trailer.
Isn't Star Wars Celebration next week? Is that when it is?
Yeah, I think it's April 16th, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
16th to the 19th.
Okay, so they'll probably have that trailer play there. They'll probably release it online, and then the first time you get to see it on the big screen will be Age of Ultron.
Right.
Yeah. And on the topic of trailers, Batman vs Superman trailer officially attached to Mad Max Fury Road.
Makes total sense. It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And they'll First and foremost, I'll bring in more money for Mad Max.
Yes.
Because, I told you earlier, I'm kind of iffy on Mad Max. I see the trailer. I never seen the originals, so I saw the trailer. I'm just kind of it looks interesting, but at the same time, I'm kind of it's kind of too crazy, which I know is kind of
George Miller.
Well, it's kind of hypocritical of me because I love comic book movies,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just man, that's almost it's too post-apocalyptic for me.
But that scene with them in the storm and everything, and the cars flying and everywhere, there's fire. That looked absolutely beautiful on the screen. I think it's going to look amazing.
But I will go see this movie just so I can see the Batman vs Superman trailer. They wouldn't have gotten my money otherwise.
Yeah.
So now they're getting my money. So that's perfect marketing in that.
Absolutely. And we're closer to the date. So Star Wars, they released a trailer a year. Within a year, they actually do have Junkie XL, who's kind of the right-hand man to Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
He's scoring the trailer.
Yeah.
And he said it looks absolutely amazing. So I can't wait for this trailer either. I mean,
what do you want to see out of this trailer? Do you want to see? I personally want to see the Batman from the comics and the animated movies. The guy who has all this martial arts experience, but also is their greatest detective, right? Because you kind of see that a little bit in the Dark Knight series.
They didn't elaborate a lot,
but not a lot. They had that scene where he's collecting the ballistics or whatever, so you kind of see it a little bit,
right?
But not a lot.
Yeah.
And you also he's more of not a boxer, but he just throws heavy punches in those movies. He's not really agile, which I want to see an agile Batman.
Right.
Which worries me because they're going with the older, more experienced Batman, but I still want to see an agile Batman. So that's what I want to see from the trailer. I want to see that video that they showed at Comic-Con
video
that we've all seen, but we haven't really seen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to see that. but I also want to see, you know, Batman outside of that.
Right. And I would like to see, you know, because they're suffering from the fallout from Man of Steel. From what we hear about the movie is that not a lot of people are very upset with Superman because his people destroyed the planet, part of the planet, and they destroyed the ocean. So I would really like to see
the fallout from that.
That, and I would really like to see Batman, you know, kind of in his cave, just looking at all of the destruction, and you just see him. He's not really liking the fact that there's aliens on his planet.
Yeah. Well, or you could also show like Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor like, you know, shaking hands because they're both pissed off that this alien just destroyed the city.
Yeah. And I think what's good to know is that, you know, if you think aliens are bad, they don't even know what's in their own ocean with Aquaman. They don't even know that there's Atlanteans on their own planet, and they're worried about aliens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, so now moving on, we're going to talk about some more theater news. You know, Fast and Furious 7 came out last week, and it has already hit over $500 million at the box office in a week. That's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. You know, how much Avengers didn't even make $500 million in the first week, did it?
No, I don't think so.
Like maybe $400 million.
Yeah. I don't think they could have predicted that it would make this much. I mean, it set an April record for opening weekend. But unfortunately, we do have to talk about the tribute. Paul Walker's death. Because they originally had a different ending for it, but they closed the character off really, really well.
Yeah, they were very respectful of things, and you know they could have gone ahead and, you know, set up. I remember hearing about like they had the ending that was going to set up like, you know, they're going to expand their world more, and they were going to use the end of this movie to do that. But because of the tragedy, you know, they went ahead and changed it and made it a tribute to Paul Walker, which was, you know, that was the best part of the movie for me.
Right.
It was, you know, like, like I don't cry at movies, but like I was just like
this
close. No, like I was like the car, like spoilers. But like the car, like, you know, they pull off, and I'm just like.
Well, there's a music video for that, and it does show that. So that's technically not a spoiler, but.
What was your overall thoughts of the movie besides the tribute though?
The movie was just the same as, you know, the way we're going down after Fast 5, which I still think Fast 5 is still my favorite, which is a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
It's just action, action, action. A lot of shots of girls' butts, which we kind of laughed at.
Yeah, like the director seemed to have like a fetish almost. Like it was just like 30% of the
anywhere
movie.
He could put one in.
30% of the movie, yeah. That did take me out of the movie a little bit. And
you mentioned that to me while we were in the theater.
Yeah, I was like, dude, like, what the... But also, another thing is, like, I understand that this, you know, it's an action movie, and they keep trying to top themselves, but in this movie, there was parts of the movie that really took me out of it, you know? Yeah. And like, the skyscraper scene that we see in the trailer, that wasn't even the worst for me. Like, that, I was like, okay, yeah, kind of, you know, it was cool. But then there was, like, one scene where, you know, like, the car's flipping over like this, and you just, like, you know, like that scene I told you about. Like, it was just completely, there's no way. Yeah. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah,
like,
laws of physics don't apply to these movies whatsoever.
Which, I mean, I kind of understand to a point, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, for me, superhero movies, like, superheroes don't exist, right? So, like, you know, it's really easy for me to lose myself in those movies. But, like, you know, cars exist, driving exists, and, like, you know, there's some stunts that you can do in cars that, you know, are possible, and, you know, but then they do things like they did in this movie. I'm just kind of like, okay. So, like, it was a fun movie. It was like I mentioned to you when we went and saw it, it's like stretching before a game, right? It's like you're getting ready for the game, so you start stretching and warming up. Like, that's what Fast and Furious 7 was for me. It was a warm up to the summer movie.
Absolutely.
Season. So now between now and Avengers Age of Ultron, it's like Daredevil, right?
Yeah,
that's Daredevil for me. But yeah, so I'm ready for the next summer movie to come out. It's gonna be super exciting.
And we have to remember next year we're gonna get even earlier with
so
Batman
many
vs
movies.
Superman.
You know, to touch on that real quick, we're getting a little off topic, but to touch on that, between Marvel, DC, 20th Century Fox, they're all releasing superhero movies, and it's going to get up to the point where, you know, Marvel's releasing 3, DC's releasing 2 or 3 a year. Who knows how many Fox is going to be releasing? We're going to be getting superhero movies at least once a month or once every other month. Right.
I think an initial count said we're getting close to maybe 40 over the next 6 to 7 years.
40?
Yeah, I think we're getting 40, including the individual movies as well, too, if you count those in, which is absolutely insane. So I feel sorry for you if you're not a comic book movie fan. I mean, I really do.
Well, I feel sorry for myself because I'm just to like throw my money, like just take it, like write a check, just instead of direct deposit to my bank account, direct deposit to the movie theaters because that's where it's all going to be going, you know. But yeah, so going back to comic book movies now with some more news, the Russo brothers have been confirmed to direct Infinity War Parts 1 and 2. So there's been a lot of rumors. People have been, we've kind of known for a while now that this was happening, or at least it was in talks because Joss Whedon says he wasn't coming back after Age of Ultron, which is fair because, there's been reports that, he's got an injury on set. He's like limping around.
Man,
like,
he is dead tired.
Not getting any sleep. Yeah, just bags under his eyes, just dead. So, yeah, the Russo brothers did a great job with The Winter Soldier. I love that movie. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel movies.
It is mine. Yeah.
Just the tone of the movie. The fact that they kind of messed with the genre a little bit, right? They went with that '70s political thriller type thing. Even got what's the guy's name that played
Sebastian Stan?
No, not Sebastian Stan. The guy who played the head of the council.
Robert Redford.
Yeah, they got him in there, just perfect. Like, even though that he probably wasn't challenging himself that much as far as like his acting prowess goes, but he still played that part really well.
He fit the movie really well.
And he even said "Hail Hydra," like you know what I mean. So he gave us fanboys that, you know what I mean. So hats off to them. But anyways, yeah. So the Russo brothers, I have complete faith in them. They're directing Civil War coming out in 2016. Super excited for that movie. So I can't wait to see what they do with Infinity War.
Yeah. And another thing too, don't mean to interrupt, but it's very interesting because the Russo brothers have a contract with Sony, so a lot of people were thinking that they're gonna be doing the Spider-Man movies as well too. So this is really kind of interesting yet exciting for me.
I think. See, I'm not going to pretend to know all the specific details of like what these different contracts mean with the studios, but I think. The Russo brothers will kind of be the, like, how Kevin Feige kind of like oversees everything.
Right.
I think the Russo brothers are kind of like moving into like one step down from Kevin Feige. Like, I think he's going to go to them and they're going to kind of like be in charge of, the like Avengers movies, like bringing all those characters together. They're still going to have like their separate directors for like Doctor Strange, Miss Marvel, Black
Panther.
Black Panther. All those different characters are going to have their own directors, but then these guys are going to come and like bring.
They're
all
still
going to
be a part of that. Those conversations.
They're going to take care of like these stories, and to go along with that, they're bringing back the writers from Captain America: The Winter Soldier, who also did Captain America, and they did what other movie did they do?
Thor. I think
Thor. Thor: The Dark World. So these guys have already written, 3, I would say, pretty decent, Marvel movies. I didn't, Thor: The Dark World was okay. Mm-hmm. Captain America was pretty good. And then Captain America: The Winter Soldier was amazing. So they're also writing Civil War. So these guys are getting plenty of work. Yeah. I have complete faith in that team of the Russo brothers and Marcus and McFeely.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, right now Marvel's it's hitting on all cylinders.
They do. They have a rock solid team there for producing and writing. Yeah, they really do.
And they're going to be going from 2 movies a year to 3 movies a year, and it seems like they have the talent in-house to take care of that.
Right.
So especially now they have Drew Goddard, right? Because he was supposed to direct Daredevil, and then he took a deal at Sony to do the Sinister Six movie that is now fallen out, and now he's in charge of Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
So, it's really interesting to see that now Marvel can also use directors that have deals with Sony, and like it seems like this collaboration and sharing of the Marvel properties and people that are working on those things. So that's really interesting. Another Marvel character, but not in the MCU, Deadpool, right?
Yes, that's right.
Dude, this has been like the perfect marketing plan.
This has been one of the best marketing campaigns I've seen in a while.
Yeah, like they had that original interview with Mario Lopez from that extra interview that was like on set, and like at first I was like, is this real? Like
I thought it was real.
And it came out on April 1st, so I was kind of skeptical, but at the same time it seemed really like authentic. So I was just like, okay. And then you just see Deadpool walking in, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So for you who don't know, they announced through this interview that Deadpool will be rated R. And they did it in the perfect way, because that interview just sums up like Deadpool as a character, right?
Perfect.
Like it sums up that tone that they're probably going to go for.
And it tells you the reason why Ryan Reynolds is the perfect guy to be Deadpool.
And then they had that picture of the like Burt Reynolds pose, like on the bear, and then they had another picture that they put out, and this is all official imagery. The picture that they put out of Deadpool on the toilet with his pants down, reading the Death of Deadpool comic book.
Yes.
Right? So it's just kind of like obviously that's a little jab at Marvel, but still so smart that they did that.
Yes, it perfectly tells you who Deadpool is, what kind of guy he is.
Yeah, because he knows that he's in the comic book, right?
Right.
So he breaks the fourth wall and all that other stuff. Says, this is going to be a really interesting movie, like comic book movie. They said that Guardians of the Galaxy kind of paved the way for this movie to take place, but at the same time, it's totally different because we don't have a fourth wall breaking character. Like we don't have a character who knows that he's part of this fictitious world.
And it's kind of interesting too because he was already used in an X-Men movie. They kind of did the unholy thing.
They're sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah, they're just kind of getting rid of it. I mean, he's a merc with a mouth, and you basically sew his mouth shut. I mean, one of the worst things you could do to somebody like that. Yeah. And it's really good that they have Ryan Reynolds in this because he perfectly embodies what Deadpool is.
And he's been fighting for this character for so long.
Yes.
And when he I just see him as Deadpool before, like when they announced Ryan Reynolds was trying to get Deadpool going, I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Like
and he
did his sense of humor and his body structure, it's just perfect Deadpool.
Right. And they released that test footage, and they have Ryan Reynolds. Perfect. I thought, and there have been those set pictures, and people now are starting to suspect that scene will be in the movie.
Which somebody mentioned from another show on YouTube that they think that would be a great opening sequence, which I agree.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. To round this out, we're going to talk about Tron 3. Now, I loved that Tron movie that they came out with a couple of years ago. Was it 2010?
I think it was 2010.
2010? Yeah. With Garrett Hedlund and Olivia Wilde. I love that movie. The soundtrack with Daft Punk was amazing to me.
They have to get them back for this.
Yeah. The visuals were crazy good. I actually liked the movie. Some people didn't, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So hearing that these two are back for the next Tron installment is music to my ears. And the fact that Tron left us with that cliffhanger, right, where they're kind of riding off into the sunrise, I guess it would be, on the motorcycle. You're kind of like, okay, where are these characters going, right? So super excited to see where this movie's going to take us.
Yeah, and I mentioned to you before, I wasn't that well versed into Tron.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for the movie that much. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't a movie that I just loved.
Yeah.
And I did mention to you this before though, that if these two characters weren't returning, Garrett and Olivia Wilde, I probably wouldn't be into this movie at all. So having them back,
I'd have to agree with that. Even though I liked that movie so much, if they weren't coming back, I'd be really hesitant to think that this movie was going to go anywhere.
Right.
But the fact that they signed back on for this movie gives me faith that this movie's going somewhere, because otherwise, why would they have come back?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they wouldn't have just signed on to it if the movie wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to round out the movie news for this Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click the thumbs up button, comment down below if you have any comments about any of the news that we covered today. As always, if you like what you see here on Movieverse, subscribe to our channel. And I would like to thank Jason for joining me on this video. I hope to have him for many more videos to come. And we'll catch you guys on the next video.